Sheryl Sandberg is the COO of Facebook and the founder of LeanIn.org. LeanIn sponsored a campaign in early 2014, and this was their campaign ad.
Pushy. Stubborn. Stubborn. Pushy. Pushy. Stubborn. Stubborn. Bossy. 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 Bossy.
When I was growing up, I was called bossy.
I think the word bossy is just a squasher.
Being labeled something matters. By middle school,
Girls are less interested in leadership than boys.
And that's because they worry about being called
Bossy.
We need to tell them it's okay to be ambitious.
we need to help them lean in.
words matter.
Let's just ban the word bossy.
Let's ban bossy.
Ban bossy.
Ban bossy. Now, if this is something that you support, just know that there are a couple of problems worth taking into consideration. The first problem with this initiative is that it's rather superficial. Had this campaign set out to enlighten children on the impact that words can have, to broaden their perspective and strengthen their empathy, there'd be very little to quarrel with. But this campaign doesn't appear to have such ambitions. All it sets out to do is eradicate a single word, which is likely to backfire down the road, seeing as there are over 1 million words in the English language, and bossy has at least a dozen synonyms. It's very likely that they'd be used instead, and if that happened, it would bring the whole thing back to square one. The second problem is the implication, that girls need a certain level of protection to succeed. Not that it would have made it any better, but if LeanIn advocated a ban on words that discourage little boys, like wimpy for example, it would have at least been fair. But only little girls were kept in mind, so unfortunately, it's a double standard, which is ironic considering that the whole endeavor was an attempt to correct a double standard in the workplace, of men being perceived as the boss while women get perceived as bossy. Well, two wrongs don't make a right. And this is not to mention what's even more ironic. Telling people what they can and cannot say is one of the bossiest things you could ever do.
I'm not bossy.
It's good enough to be a Monty Python routine.
You just contradicted me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did.
No.
The third problem here is that there is no hard evidence to support the notion that the reason why young women don't pursue roles of leadership is because people use this blasted word. And even if there was enough evidence to support this claim, what would we have to conclude? That girls are more fragile than boys? That indeed it is the case that a 5-letter word can potentially wreck a female's chance of pursuing a role of leadership? That's sexist. This is yet another example of irony. The fourth problem with this campaign is the following assumption.
By middle school, more boys than girls want to lead, and if you ask girls why they don't want to do it, they don't want to be disliked and they don't want to be called bossy.
If being called a name is enough to deter you from being a leader, perhaps you're not a leader. Anyone who values being liked more probably doesn't want to be a leader in the first place. The boss is not always a popular person, so perhaps the word bossy should be seen as a test, an indicator for who has thick skin and who doesn't let names bother them, and who doesn't have thick skin and would rather just get along without making any enemies. By the way, neither one is inherently wrong. The fifth, final, and most obvious problem with this campaign is that it advocates censorship. Censorship is wrong. The act of stifling free expression is not only an unconstitutional one, some might argue it's an immoral one as well. As a matter of principle, it really doesn't matter which words in particular you want banned, whether they're harmful, benign, popular, or obscure. Controlling what people say and is just not acceptable behavior in a secular, postmodern Western society. One last thing worth pointing out is that bossy is not exactly synonymous with leadership. Someone who's a leader guides people and helps them achieve their full potential. Someone who's bossy just orders people around and doesn't want anyone else's input. This is a significant distinction. So maybe, at the end of the day, it would be best if kids who act bossy on the playground are not given positions of power when they grow up. God knows what kind of stunt they'll try to pull if they do gain power. So, just to recap, this campaign is doubly ironic. Not only does banning the word bossy take a bossy kind of person, but there's a sexist implication that girls are weaker than boys. It's based on very little evidence, it solves a non-problem, it solves it poorly, and it infringes on free speech.
Why does bossy matter? Words matter, and girls are listening.
Raise your hand if anyone's ever called you bossy. So what's more important, to be liked or to be a leader?
To be liked.
What's the big fucking deal? What the fuck are we doing out here? I ask you, what in the fuck are we doing here? So what's the big fucking deal? What the fuck are we doing out here? I ask you, what in the fuck are we doing here? Hell, I don't know.